Hello everybody, we're going to be talking about complementary and supplementary angles using algebra. Where do we see supplementary angles? Well, supplementary angles are everywhere you can have a straight line. Wherever you have a straight line, for example, this road, and there's another crossroad right here, there's going to be an angle. If that line is intersected by another line, there's going to be an angle formed, and the sum of this angle with this other angle is going to be a supplementary angle. So these two angles are going to be supplementary angles because when you add them, it's 180. And we'll be talking about them also in the previous classes, but I just wanted you to remind you what supplementary angles are so that you can compare them to what we're going to see today, which are complementary angles. So here's another example of a supplementary angle. I don't know if you've seen it, if you've seen this. Here, for example, on this side, we have one angle and we have another angle. We got two angles that when you add them, it's 180 degrees. And over here, we don't have two angles. Now we have three angles, but when you add them, it's also going to be 180 degrees. So you don't just need to have two angles to have supplementary angles. You can have three or more, such as in this case where you have four angles. So here's an angle, here's the other angle, plus this angle, plus this other angle. It's going to give you 180. So these are examples that you can see in everyday life where you have supplementary angles. Now here are the complementary angles. The complementary angles, in contrast with the one of the previous subject, which is when you add and you get 180 degrees, this one is going to be when you add the angles and you get 90 degrees. So the angle of 90 degrees, where do you see it? For example, between the wall and the floor, that angle is going to be 90 degrees. And complementary angles are going to be those that when you add one angle with the other one, it's going to give you 90 degrees. For example, here this angle is 60 degrees and this one is 30 degrees. When you add them, it's going to be 90. And that's going to be pretty much what a complementary angle is when you add two angles and you get 90 degrees. So here we have one angle and here's another angle. Here's that, which is an example of a complementary angle in everyday life. So this thing is going to be measuring probably 45 degrees and this one also 45 degrees. When you add them, it's going to be 90 degrees. And also when a Olympic competitor is throwing the javelin, which is this arrow thing, this spear, we call them javelins in Olympic Games. Well, have you noticed that there's going to be an angle here? It has an angle. And you can also compare it with the other angle that is here, the 90-degree angle. So we can measure the inclination with respect to the floor or maybe to some imaginary wall in the back. And those would be complementary angles. Alrighty, now, how about we do some problems? So let's say, for example, that they say that we got these two angles A and B, and it says that they're complementary, which means that when you add this angle A with angle B, it's going to be 90 degrees. And it says that A is 54 degrees. A is 54 degrees. Okay, this is supposed to go over here. It's a 54 degrees. So this is going to be 54 degrees, this angle. And they say also that on angle B we have this equation, x minus 6. And we have to find the value of x. So how do we do that? How do we go about doing this? Well, first of all, we have to calculate the angle B. So we know that this one is 54 degrees. What about this angle B? What about it? What do we do to get the result? How do we get the angle B? So instead of subtracting from 180 degrees, we gotta subtract from 90 degrees. And we gotta do that just right here. It's gonna be 90 minus 54. It gives us 36. And therefore, that's going to be the angle B. Well, that's great, but we're looking for the value of x. What's going to be the value of x? So this angle is B and its value is going to be 36. And they also tell us that this B is the same as x minus 6. So that means that we have that x minus 6 equals the angle in B, which is 36. Now what we have to do is just apply our algebraic knowledge, which is, as you can see here, we have a 6 that is subtracting. We don't want it there. We gotta add a 6 and we gotta add a 6 here to cancel this thing. So we gotta add 6 and also add the 6 here to cancel. So we got 36 plus 6, which gives us 42. And 42 minus 6 gives us exactly again the 36. So that's the value that is hidden there on the x in this equation. Now let's go to this other problem where we have supplementary angles. So supplementary angles means that this angle plus this angle, it's 180 degrees. We've managed to solve problems like this one on the previous exercises, but we're going to do also some more of these type of problems where you have the problem in this form, but it's basically the same as what you already know, but we have less angles. Maybe this one is even easier than what you saw in the previous class. A and B are supplementary angles, so that means that A is an angle that when you add it with B, it's going to be 180 degrees. This plus this is 180 degrees. So what do you do to get the result? What do you do to get the angle A? B is going to be 33 degrees. So the other one, this angle is 33 degrees. This other angle is going to be 180 minus 33. And that's going to be 147. So this angle over here is going to be 147, which means that A, 147, is the same as this. So 4x plus 2 is the same as 147. So that's the equation that you have to solve for in order to get that hidden value in this equation, which is x. So let's apply our knowledge of algebra. We got this 2 being added. We don't want it there. What do? We gotta subtract. We gotta subtract, of course. Minus 2 and then minus 2. And that's gonna give us 147 minus 2 is 145. And then that 4 is still there next to the x. It's multiplying. So then you gotta divide this by 4 and then divide this by 4. It gives us 145 divided by 4 is 36.25. That is going to be the result for x. That's it. You're done. Now here's one more example of complementary angles that you could find on the website. Page problems. So they say that A and B are complementary. And they tell us that A is 6 degrees. This one is 6 degrees. How much is the other one going to be? So they're complementary. That means that when you add them, it's going to be, this is not correct. This is, what? This is all wrong, guys. This is all wrong. What's going on here? Okay, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it correctly because this is not the right procedure. Luckily, I just noticed. So I'm going to tell you the right procedure, guys. Complementary means that you got to do it with 90 degrees. So the B is going to be B equals 90 minus the 6. And that means that we have 90 minus 6, that's going to be 84. Okay, that's going to be this other angle here. That's going to be 84. And it makes perfect sense because when you add 84 plus 6, it gives us the 90 degrees because it's complementary. They are both going to be added and it gives us, they're supposed to give us 90 degrees. So now we got it. So B is going to be 84 and A is going to be 6. And then it says that we know that the angle B is also x minus 2. So we got x minus 2. X minus 2 is the same as B. And we know from the previous step that b is going to be 84, so I can write that right here, 84. And then what's going to be next? We have this negative 2. I don't want that negative 2 there. I don't want it. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to have the x by itself. So that negative 2, what do I do to cancel it? I got to add 2 here, and then I got to add 2 over here to cancel this 2. Of course, you know algebra, guys. You know what I'm talking about. And then 84 plus 2 is going to be, well, 86. And that would be the answer. That would be the answer. The 86, just right there. I did this with the mouse, so please have some patience with me when I'm drawing with the mouse. Okay, anyways, well, that's going to be the result. X equals 86. And that's it. That's it, guys. Well, you have a great day. I'll see you later.